Hello, my name is Billy Sichone, and I've worked in several places, but I'll tell you about two places which are outstanding in my experience. I worked with World Vision for 17 years in the outlying areas of Zambia. And whilst working in different parts of the country, I was involved in development, touching lives and working among people that are disadvantaged, but at the same time sharing the gospel. But I was also instrumental in the local church. We set up a church in Mongu and supported the other work in Pika. So basically in World Vision, I did various jobs. I was accountant, I was a coordinator, and lastly, I was program manager. And it was such a great blessing to serve God there because it helped me to grow up. But I also worked at Northrise University, where I did various things. I taught as a lecturer, I was vice president for academics, and then I was head of research at that university. But it was good to work in a Christian environment, to teach from a Christian basis and principle, as well as interact and interface with our students in their dormitory. So I think Northrise was a great place for me as well. Well, I have worked at CABU almost 2 years, and I must say it's been a great blessing for me having worked here. Like I said, I worked at the Northrise University just up here on the Copper Belt in Ndola, but then moved on to Kitwe at the beginning of 2019. And it's been a blessing working here. First of all, what I have experienced is CABU at the time that I joined was not as big as Northrise, but it has been growing. I've seen it grow, and I've seen the environment is so friendly as well. I think that's the first thing that struck me. It's just a Christian environment that I found here. It reminded me of my earlier days at World Vision. You know, when World Vision was very small, you knew almost everybody. There was a sense of family and so on. And that's the kind of thing that I found here at CABU. The other thing that I have experienced here is people are very intentional. They're very particular. They want to serve the Lord. They want to live out the Christian life. And you can see it's evident in their lives. But the other thing is that this university is very missional. It's intentional in spreading out the gospel of Jesus Christ. Its mission is to generate servant leaders, and we believe the philosophy life upon life. So in other words, if I live the Christian life and I model it, I demonstrate it, chances are my students will learn from me not only in class, but also in the outside world. So I've noticed that our interactions are not only in class, but even beyond the four walls of the classroom. That's one other thing that I've found. The other thing I've found, perhaps is at the level at which I am, I find that I have a bit more time for my family. I have a bit more time for the local church, and I'm able to research, read, and serve the Lord in ways perhaps that I was not able to do in probably in previous places. I think that's what I have found about this place. I enjoy working with Phil and Sandala, and these are great colleagues and mentors who love the Lord and serve Him and model the life of Jesus Christ. Yeah, obvious. Thank you for that question. We find ourselves in exceptionally difficult times at the moment. There's COVID-19, death is round about us, and there are so many things. Some people are discouraged, not only with the disease itself, but also the fallout, the results. You have to close school, you have to go home, so some are out of jobs and so on. It's very, very hard. I have experienced very difficult times in my life, and if somebody sees me today, they might think, well, it's been all a bed of roses. It hasn't been. There was a time when I went to the University of Zambia as a student, as a fresher, very excited in the School of Natural Sciences. Then at the end of that year, I failed. I was on the streets. And those years, it was very difficult to find an alternative. So from the university, the next was the college. So I went to Evelyn Horn. I did accounting. But even there, I continued having challenges, failing and so on. It was so hard. And personally, I was crushed and distraught, and people, some were encouraging, many were discouraging. And so there were many times when I began to ask the question, Lord, what is in this for me? But you know what? The Lord kept encouraging me to trust in Him. And after many years, I began to study, and here I am. I've got a job now. So the advice I would give is that don't look at the now, look at the long term. God is working in you and with you, and sometimes He can lift you up even from what people might consider as ashes, and begin to build you. And you know what? God gives us differently. Some are gifted to work in offices, others in the informal sector, and so on. So just find out where God has placed you and put in your best. But in this dark, dark cloud that we find around us, look to God, trust Him, and never, ever give up, but trust Him, and He will help you through. I can tell you, many years from now, you will look back and you'll wonder why you were even anxious. Sometimes you not even remember the pain, but the experience will be in your memory, and it'll be something that you will be able to help the next person, to encourage them to move on and tell them, hey brother, hey sister, let's stand up, let's move on, we can make it.